The Moonlit Meadow. In a quiet village nestled at the edge of a vast, ancient forest, there lived a little girl named Kira. She had always been enchanted by the mysteries of the woods, especially a place her grandmother often spoke of, the Moonlit Meadow. According to legend, this meadow was a magical place that came alive under the light of the full moon, revealing wonders that no one had ever seen during the day. Kira's grandmother, a wise old woman with twinkling eyes and stories for every occasion, had told her about the Moonlit Meadow ever since she was a baby. She described it as a serene, hidden clearing deep within the forest, where the moonlight cast a silvery glow over everything, and the air was filled with the scent of blooming flowers and the gentle hum of night creatures. One evening, as the moon rose full and bright in the sky, casting its ethereal light over the village, Kira felt a tug in her heart. It was as if the moonlit meadow itself was calling her. With her grandmother's tales echoing in her mind and a sense of adventure bubbling within her, she decided that tonight would be the night she would find the magical meadow. She bundled up in her warmest cloak, took a small lantern to light her way, and slipped quietly out of her house. The village was still, with only the sound of the wind rustling through the trees and the occasional hoot of an owl breaking the silence. The moon hung high in the sky, its light casting long shadows on the ground, guiding Kira towards the forest. With each step, she ventured deeper into the woods, the familiar path gradually giving way to the wilder, more mysterious parts of the forest. The trees here were taller and older, their branches intertwining to form a canopy that filtered the moonlight into delicate beams that danced on the forest floor. The air was cool and filled with the earthy scent of moss and leaves, and the night seemed to hum with a gentle, magical energy. Kira walked for what felt like hours, her footsteps barely making a sound on the soft forest floor. She followed the faint trails of light, trusting the moon to guide her. Along the way, she encountered many marvels. A family of deer grazing peacefully in a moonlit glade, their eyes reflecting the silver light. A cluster of fireflies that danced around her, illuminating her path with their tiny, glowing bodies, and a sparkling stream that gurgled softly, its waters shimmering like liquid silver. As she continued her journey, Kira began to feel a strange, comforting presence, as if the forest itself was watching over her. The trees seemed to whisper in the breeze, their leaves rustling softly as she passed by. She felt a sense of peace and wonder, knowing that she was drawing closer to the heart of the forest and the magical meadow she had heard so much about. Eventually, she came upon a narrow, winding path that led to a small hill. The moonlight bathed the hill in a soft, silvery glow, and at the top, Kira could see the faint outline of a clearing. Her heart quickened with excitement as she climbed the hill, her lantern casting a warm, comforting light around her. At the top of the hill, she paused to catch her breath and take in the view. Before her lay the moonlit meadow, just as her grandmother had described. The meadow was a vast, open space, surrounded by ancient trees that seemed to glow in the moonlight. The grass was soft and thick, dotted with delicate flowers that shimmered like stars in the pale light. In the center of the meadow stood a magnificent oak tree, its branches reaching up towards the sky, its leaves glistening with an otherworldly light. Kira felt a sense of awe and wonder as she stepped into the meadow. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the gentle hum of night creatures. She walked slowly towards the oak tree, marveling at the beauty and serenity of the place. It was as if time itself had stopped, and she was the only person in the world. As she reached the oak tree, she noticed a small, delicate flower growing at its base. It was unlike any flower she had ever seen, its petals glowing with a soft, silvery light. She knelt down to get a closer look, and as she did, she heard a gentle, melodic voice whispering in the air around her. "Welcome, dear child," the voice said. "You have found the moonlit meadow, a place of magic and wonder. Here, under the light of the full moon, the world reveals its hidden beauty, and the dreams of those who believe come true." Kira looked around, trying to find the source of the voice, but there was no one there. She realized that the voice was coming from the meadow itself, from the trees and flowers and the very earth beneath her feet. She felt a sense of peace and joy, knowing that she had found a place where dreams and reality intertwined. She spent what felt like hours in the meadow, exploring its wonders and marveling at its beauty. She saw flowers that glowed with an inner light, their petals whispering secrets to the night air. She watched as the moonlight cast a silvery glow over the meadow, creating a landscape of light and shadow that seemed to dance and shimmer with a life of its own. As the night wore on, Kira felt a sense of contentment and fulfillment. She knew that she had found something truly special, a place of magic and wonder that would stay with her forever. She lay down on the soft grass, gazing up at the stars, and let the gentle hum of the meadow lull her into a peaceful sleep. The next day, Kira woke to the soft light of dawn filtering through the canopy of trees surrounding the meadow. The world around her was bathed in a gentle, golden glow, and the air was filled with the sweet fragrance of morning dew and blooming flowers. She felt a sense of calm and wonder, as if she had woken up in a dream. As she sat up and looked around, she noticed that the meadow had taken on a different kind of beauty in the morning light. The flowers, which had glowed softly in the moonlight, now shimmered with droplets of dew, their petals a riot of colors that sparkled like jewels. The grass, still wet with dew, was a lush, deep green, and the leaves of the oak tree glistened in the early sunlight. Kira felt a sense of gratitude for having experienced the magic of the Moonlit Meadow. She knew that it was a place of wonder and enchantment, a sanctuary where dreams and reality came together in a dance of light and shadow. She took a deep breath, savoring the fresh, cool air, and decided to explore the meadow a little more before heading back home. As she wandered through the meadow, she discovered a small, winding path that led deeper into the forest. The path was lined with wildflowers and shaded by tall, ancient trees whose branches formed a delicate archway above. The air was filled with the sound of birds singing and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Kira felt a sense of adventure and curiosity, wondering where the path might lead. Following the path, she came upon a small, sparkling stream that flowed through the forest. The water was crystal clear, and she could see fish darting among the pebbles and plants at the bottom. The stream's gentle babbling created a soothing, melodic sound that made her feel calm and peaceful. Kira knelt down by the stream and dipped her fingers into the cool, refreshing water, feeling a sense of connection to the natural world around her. Continuing along the path, she soon came to a small, wooden bridge that crossed the stream. The bridge was old and weathered, but sturdy, and as she crossed it, she felt as if she were stepping into another world. The forest on the other side of the bridge was even more magical, with trees that seemed to glow with an inner light and flowers that shimmered in the dappled sunlight. As she explored this new part of the forest, Kira noticed a gentle hum in the air, a soft, melodic sound that seemed to come from all around her. She followed the sound and soon came upon a small, hidden glade surrounded by ancient trees and filled with the most beautiful flowers she had ever seen. In the center of the glade was a large, flat stone that glowed with a soft, golden light. Kira felt drawn to the stone, as if it held some ancient, mystical power. She approached it slowly, feeling a sense of awe and wonder. As she reached out to touch the stone, she heard a gentle, melodic voice in the air around her. "Welcome, dear child," the voice said. "You have found the heart of the forest, a place of great magic and wisdom. Here, in this sacred glade, the secrets of the forest are revealed, and the dreams of those who seek them come true." Kira felt a sense of peace and joy, knowing that she had found something truly special. She sat down on the stone and closed her eyes, letting the gentle hum of the forest fill her senses. She felt as if she were floating, surrounded by a warm, comforting light that made her feel safe and loved. As she sat there, she began to hear whispers in the air around her, soft, gentle voices that seemed to tell stories of the forest and its magic. She listened intently, feeling a deep sense of connection to the natural world. She learned about the ancient trees that had stood for centuries, the flowers that bloomed only under the light of the full moon, and the creatures that called the forest their home. Time seemed to stand still as Kira sat in the glade, listening to the stories of the forest. She felt a sense of wonder and gratitude for having experienced such magic and beauty. She knew that she had found a place where dreams and reality came together in perfect harmony, a place where she could always find peace and inspiration. Eventually, as the sun began to rise higher in the sky, casting its warm, golden light over the forest, Kira knew that it was time to head back home. She felt a sense of contentment and fulfillment, knowing that she had experienced something truly special. She got up from the stone and began to make her way back through the forest, following the path that had led her to the heart of the forest. As she crossed the wooden bridge and made her way back to the moonlit meadow, she felt a sense of joy and wonder. The meadow was just as beautiful in the morning light as it had been under the full moon, and she knew that she would always treasure the memories of her magical journey. When she finally emerged from the forest and returned to her village, Kira felt a sense of peace and happiness. She knew that she had discovered a place of magic and wonder, a sanctuary where dreams and reality intertwined in a dance of light and shadow. As Kira approached her village, the golden hues of the early morning bathed the landscape in a serene glow. The familiar sight of the cozy cottages and the gentle hum of daily life welcomed her back, but the magic of the moonlit meadow still lingered in her heart. Her thoughts were a kaleidoscope of shimmering flowers, whispering trees, and the gentle glow of the enchanted glade she had discovered. Her grandmother awaited her return, standing on the porch with a knowing smile and a steaming cup of herbal tea. Without needing any words, Kira knew that her grandmother understood the wonder she had experienced. They sat together in comfortable silence, the warmth of the tea seeping into her hands as the stories of the forest mingled with the rising sun's first light. Kira recounted her adventure in vivid detail, describing how she had followed the moon's silvery beams into the heart of the forest, encountered the mystical creatures, and discovered the magical glade where the very air seemed to hum with enchantment. Her grandmother's eyes twinkled with joy and pride as she listened. When Kira finished, her grandmother took her hand gently and said, "The moonlit meadow revealed its secrets to you because you have a pure heart and a kind spirit. Always remember, my dear, that the magic of the meadow is within you. It's a place you can return to in your heart whenever you need peace and inspiration." Days passed, and life in the village continued its steady rhythm. Yet, Kira found herself often dreaming of the moonlit meadow. During quiet moments, she would close her eyes and picture the serene clearing, the luminescent flowers, and the ancient oak that had stood as a silent guardian over the magical glade. The memory of her journey brought her comfort and a deep sense of connection to the natural world. One moonlit evening, as the full moon bathed the village in its gentle light, Kira gathered the children of the village around a crackling fire. Their eager faces glowed with anticipation as she began to weave the tale of her adventure. She spoke of the shimmering flowers that whispered secrets in the moonlight, the path that led her through the enchanted forest, and the magical glade where dreams and reality intertwined. The children's eyes widened with wonder, captivated by her words, their imaginations soaring on the wings of her story. Inspired by Kira's tale, the children began to explore the forest, their hearts open to the possibility of magic. They discovered their own secret places, where the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. Though they never found the moonlit meadow, they each found a special spot where they could dream, imagine, and feel the magic of nature come alive in their hearts. As the years passed, the story of Kira's journey to the moonlit meadow became a cherished legend in the village, a tale passed down from generation to generation. Kira herself grew older, her hair turning silver like the moonlight that had once guided her steps. Yet, she remained a beacon of wonder and wisdom, always sharing the lessons she had learned from the forest. Even as an elder, Kira continued to nurture the village's connection to the forest. She would lead the children on gentle walks through the woods, teaching them to listen to the whispers of the trees and to appreciate the beauty and magic of the natural world. Her love for the forest became a legacy, inspiring the villagers to live in harmony with the land and to cherish the simple wonders of nature. One quiet evening, as the full moon cast its silvery glow over the village once more, Kira found herself drawn back to the edge of the forest. She followed the familiar path, her steps guided by the gentle light of the moon. As she reached the old wooden bridge, she paused, listening to the soft babble of the stream below and the distant hum of the enchanted glade. Crossing the bridge, she felt a sense of peace and joy, knowing that she was returning to a place of magic and wonder. The path led her once again to the moonlit meadow, now bathed in the silvery light of the full moon. The meadow was as beautiful as she remembered, the flowers glowing softly, their petals shimmering like stars against the dark backdrop of the forest. Kira walked to the center of the meadow, where the ancient oak tree stood tall and proud. She placed her hand on the tree's rough bark, feeling the gentle pulse of life within it. She knew that this place was a sanctuary, a place where dreams and reality intertwined, where the magic of the world was always present for those who believed. She sat down beneath the oak tree, gazing up at the moonlit sky. The stars twinkled like diamonds, and the gentle hum of the forest filled her ears, a comforting melody that spoke of peace and serenity. Kira closed her eyes and let the magic of the meadow wash over her, feeling a deep sense of connection to the earth and the sky, to the past and the future. As she sat there, a gentle breeze rustled the leaves of the oak tree, carrying with it the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the soft whispers of the forest. She felt a sense of contentment and fulfillment, knowing that she had lived a life filled with wonder and gratitude, always connected to the magic of the moonlit meadow. Eventually, as the night wore on and the moon began to sink lower in the sky, Kira knew it was time to return home. She stood up, her heart full of peace and her mind filled with dreams. She took one last look at the meadow, its beauty and magic a memory she would carry with her always. As she walked back through the forest, the path seemed to glow with an inner light, guiding her steps. She felt the presence of the forest around her, a comforting, protective embrace that made her feel safe and loved. She crossed the wooden bridge and made her way back to her village, the gentle hum of the forest lingering in her ears. When she finally reached her home, Kira lay down in her cozy bed, closing her eyes and letting the memories of the moonlit meadow fill her thoughts. She whispered a quiet thank you to the forest and the magic it held, knowing that it would always be a part of her, a guiding light in the quiet moments of her life. As she drifted off to sleep, the gentle hum of the forest lulled her into a peaceful slumber, carrying her back to the moonlit meadow in her dreams, where the flowers glowed softly in the moonlight, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of magic and wonder. Sweet dreams.